Hello and welcome to News Central Television. The headlines at this hour. Liberia's new president, Boakai, vows to tackle graft as it takes oath as president. Chief of Defense Staff advocates broad-based approach to Nigeria's security challenges. U.S. Secretary of State Blinken lands in Cape Verde for first leg of four-country Africa tour. Details to come your way shortly. For our viewers across Africa and the rest of the world, this is NC Continental Prime. I am Likon Onobanjo. We begin the news at this hour in West Africa, where Joseph Boakai was sworn in as president of Liberia on Monday, following his election victory over erstwhile president and former professional soccer player George Weah. As the newly inaugurated president, Boakai's administration will focus on addressing Liberia's ongoing challenges with poverty and corruption. At age 79, Boakai takes office amid high expectations to improve living standards and governance. Niyomoni provides further detail.
So help me God.
At age 79, Joseph Boakai was sworn in as Liberia's president on January 22, 2024, after a narrow victory in the second round of voting in November 2023. This makes him the oldest person ever to assume the nation's highest office. His election marks a transition of leadership as he succeeds George Weah, Liberia's youngest elected president. Boakai brings decades of experience to the role, having served as vice president from 2006 to 2018 under former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. He was defeated by Weah in the 2017 presidential election. In his inaugural address, President Boakai outlined his priorities to address Liberia's most pressing challenges.
Our plan to fix the ills we are inheriting must go together with realistic expectations. We will act in the first 100 days of our administration and then diligently pursue the rescue mission. We are here to rekindle your hope, to reposition us on the national pathway.
However, there was brief concern when he paused during his speech due to a minor medical issue. While the 2023 elections were an important milestone that reinforced Liberia's democratic reforms, the health scare cast a dark shadow on his ability to rule. The new administration faces significant obstacles, including poverty, corruption, and effect of past conflict, as many expect reforms that will improve living standards, sustain stability, and economic opportunity for all Liberians. In Lagos for News Central, Ni Omani.
Let's now head to Nigeria, where the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has advocated the use of the non-kinetic approach in the ongoing fight against criminality. He says no fewer than 2,000 Boko Haram terrorists, through a non-kinetic approach, surrendered to troops in the height of insurgency in the country. Musa spoke while delivering a lecture at the opening of the National Security Course on Psychological Operations and Strategic Communication on Monday in Abuja. He was represented by the Director of Training, Defense Headquarters, Duprier Matthew. Musa, however, said the military has upskilled the use of hard and soft power in counterinsurgency operations to contain emerging and changing nature of adversaries. Still talking insecurity, the kidnapped daughters of the Al-Qadriyas abducted on January 2, 2024 at the Bari Area Council of Nigeria's capital, Abuja, have finally been reunited with their family. Inside sources say a 70 million naira ransom was paid to effect their release, though the Nigeria Police Force is claiming this followed a joint operation between the police and the military. Marvelous Obomano visited the family and tells us more.
What is the taste of freedom? And how does it feel to be confined in an unknown place for 18 days? This is the story of El Kadria and his 5 daughters that were kidnapped from their home in the Buari Area Council, a suburb of Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory, on January the 2nd, following the inability to raise a 60 million naira ransom as demanded by the kidnappers. One of the 5 girls, Nabiha El Kadria, was murdered in cold blood, which sparked a national uproar. With the ransom finally paid, the other 4 girls, alongside 7 other captives from 4 different families, were finally reunited with their loved ones.
Immediately, my friend discovered that there is a robbery attack. That's what he presumed it was. He put a distress call to his junior brother, Abdul Fatai, and that one immediately swung into action. He contacted the police, mobilized the police. He went to the scene of but unfortunately, they were ambushed. He was gunned down.
This is the exact junction where police operatives and the kidnappers had a gun duel. Unfortunately, a younger brother to the victim, Abdul Fattah, lost his life. And then, of course, the 3 mobile police officers who came with him for the rescue operation were badly injured. And then 2 days after, one of the police officers lost his life. Now, if you look closely, we can still see some broken glasses on the ground. News Central visited the residence of the El Kadrias as part of its efforts to follow up on the case. Now we're here at this compound, and what we noticed so far when we came here is that we can still see some broken, glasses on the floor. And of course, when you look at this particular building, right through into the wall was where a bullet penetrated inside. And of course, we also seen that the place where these kidnappers made their way into the compound is obviously showing at that gate side where you see those barbed wires folded down.
This is the state capital, and all this is happening at the nose of the federal government.
It is one too many cases of kidnapping in the Buari Area Council and across the federal capital, Nigeria's seat of power, which many say ought to be the safest place in the country. They say the location of the kidnappers are known to residents and security agencies, but wonder why they are not being flushed out.
These guys it's a stone throw here. From here, you can't drive 15 minutes. That's their enclaves. They are there, as if they have found their own colony there.
I will just kindly solicit the approval of federal government for the bandits to grant them CAC approval so that we will know that they are established institution for business.
Although the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory has warned against paying ransom to kidnappers. However, this becomes a tall order if you face a similar situation like the El Kadrias. Citizens say government should instead live up to its responsibility and ensure the protection of lives and property. In Abuja for News Central, Marvelous Obomman.
Let's now tell you that the Federal High Court in Abuja has nullified the 800 billion naira 2024 budget signed into law by Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara. In December, the governor presented an 800 billion naira 2024 appropriation bill to a faction of the State House of Assembly comprising 4 lawmakers. Following the passage of the budgets by the lawmakers, Fubara subsequently signed the budgets into law. The Rivers Assembly became factionalized following a move by 27 lawmakers loyal to ex-governor Nyesom Wike to impeach Fubara. The presiding judge, James Omotosho, held that everything done by the 4 lawmakers was null and void. The court also recognized Martin Amewele as the Speaker of the State Assembly. In southwest Nigeria, occupants of the popular Mandalas building in Lagos Island Market are counting their losses after a fire gutted the building on Sunday. Eyewitnesses believe the fire was caused by activities of a welder. They are calling on the Lagos State government to come to their aid, as some of them claimed to have lost all they have. Bernard Akede filed in this report from the site of the fire.
traders at the Mandilas building trying to salvage whatever they can from their stores after the building was gutted by fire, while others watch in sympathy. But behind the building is where the real damage done can be seen. According to official statements, the first 4 floors of this 16-story building were affected. But eyewitnesses say the fire, which was caused by the activities of a welder, went as high as the 9th floor.
Based on the information that we got, there was like a cut-out space at the back of the building, which some sure already occupied. So the landlord is trying to build another structure above what was there. So I think the welders, when they were trying to put themselves together, loose-guarded on their electrical equipment, and close to where they were working, we have the generator, the diesel and all that. So I think in that process of mismanagement of equipment, that was what caused the fire.
gbogbo tí kíní generator ti yeruku níbi palace lókè pé ohun tí bàbá yìí ṣe yìí ó lè kọ́ sí nǹkan burúkú wọn listing sí wa wọn listing wọn lọ sí ọ̀dọ̀ ẹ̀ after ọ̀dọ̀ ẹ̀ alọ́lárí àràbọ̀mọ̀ gbogbo orúkọ mẹ́yìn òsì dákí gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì máa ṣe kò yẹ kó máa ṣe kó yẹ pé gbogbo nǹkan báyìí bí owó kò yẹ ládùúgbò yìí rárá gbogbo nǹkan tó bá fẹ́ ṣe kó máa ṣe neat.
Most shop owners were still in shock and refused to grant interviews, but for those who spoke, they asked the government to please come to their aid, as some of them have lost their entire sources of livelihood.
Actually, we don't even know what caused the fire, but when we got here, before my husband could even park the car and go inside, the first thing we first of all got to the warehouse. Before he could get to the warehouse, everything has already burnt down. This is where we fed from. Our kids are in school. You know, some of these children just resumed school. Most of us have not even started paying school fee yet. So government should come and help us, maybe something that could just make a man stand back.
Most people in this plaza have stores, they have warehouses, and it all burnt down. There are so many people there that I don't even know their names, and their shops, their warehouses are all burnt. And the landlord is nowhere to be found. They are trying to reach him. He's not picking his calls.
Meanwhile, security operatives and other relevant agencies stand guard to ensure all shops in the area remain shut to ensure that hoodlums do not take advantage of the sad incident.
Thankfully, there were no casualties recorded in this fire. However, this again brings back questions surrounding how clustered this market is, making it difficult for fire services and other rescue workers to gain access. While not much can be done about this, the hope is that relevant authorities will put the right infrastructure in place in markets like this so that losses like this one can be avoided in the future. In Lagos, for News Central, I'm Bernard Akede.
In the meantime, food vendors and end users of styrofoam food packs have kicked against the ban imposed by the Lagos State government on single-use plastics. The state government has urged all producers, distributors and end users of styrofoam packs to take the ban seriously and find alternatives or risk heavy fines and other penalties, including the sealing of their premises. Adishawo Dushoga reports.
Styrofoam is an extruded polystyrene foam that is often made into insulation, packaging and food containers, such as beverage cups, egg cartons and disposable plates and trays. The most common form of styrofoam used in Nigeria are food containers, mostly used at eateries, local restaurants and even parties to package foods. But these styrofoam have now become a threat to the environment, particularly in Lagos, Nigeria, a city that generates over 13,000 metric tons of waste per day, most of which contains these plastics. They are found in canals, gutters, and sometimes, in rare cases, floating on the surfaces of flooded areas and streets. To this effect, the Lagos State government has now placed a ban on the usage of this single-use plastic with immediate effect. The State Commissioner for the Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, who declared this via a social media platform, warned that producers of this plastic could also be made to bear the cost of the daily cleanup of their product from roads and drainage channels, which runs into tens of millions of naira daily.
So the issue also, which is our own challenge, quite frankly, is it also lies with our waste disposal system, you understand, and practices. What have we been able to get people how have we been able to get people to dispose of their waste within the system? At least being able to identify some of these single-use plastics that are recyclable and being able to dispose them in a very proper and appropriate manner that makes recycling easy.
However, some food vendors in Lagos are kicking against this ban, insisting that such a pronouncement should have been done with prior notice or a grace period.
Most of the shops that are selling all this pack, if you go to their shop, all this pack is very low, that they load it to their shop. If they said they will stop selling it, means it will affect them also. Because I don't know how they will do those markets. And the company that supply those markets to them, I don't think they will still collect it back. They will talk to governments for them to give us more time. Then I will be happy, because so that those that have it in the shop will at least sell it even outside Lagos. They will go and supply all those markets.
The state government, through the Commissioner for the Environment and Water Resources, has now called for the immediate implementation of the ban and the clampdown on production companies and distribution outlets of styrofoams across the state to prevent further distribution. In Lagos for News Central, Adeshawa Odushoga.
A break will do here on NC Continental Prime. We'll be back in a bit. Don't go away. Many thanks for staying with us. Let's now tell you that Islamic scholars in Nigeria have called for increased sensitization of the dangers of same-sex unions in the country. This was as they converged on Nigeria's capital, Abuja, commending governments for its continuous resistance to pressure from Western countries to legitimize the practice in the country. Idong Joseph reports.
In Nigeria, many citizens, lawmakers, preachers and religious scholars share similar views on same-sex union, also known as lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender. Nigeria, which is mainly comprised of Christians and Muslims, believe that those who identify as LGBTQ are regarded as sinners who defy the natural order, biblical tenets and Islamic laws. This belief in 2014 prompted Nigeria's enactment of a law against same-sex marriage, prescribing a 14-year jail term for anyone attempting to go into such a union or encouraging such.
It is going to decimate the human species. It will truncate, procreation. So it will quicken the overall annihilation of, human communities. So there is nothing that has come to the human race that is an evil greater than the LGBTQ.
LGBTQ will annihilate motherhood because a woman cannot impregnate a woman. A man cannot impregnate a man. So from where did they get the idea that a man should marry a man?
For us as believers, we believe if whatever our religion asks us to abstain from, it is duty bound upon us to actually abstain from it. That is the point.
While Nigeria and many African countries have refused to bow down to pressure from Western countries to legitimize same-sex relationships, there have been counter-reactions from the West coming in the form of sanctions. In light of this, Islamic scholars in Nigeria have thrown their weight behind the government's position, calling for mass sensitization of the society on the dangers same-sex union pose to the nation.
As they are spreading pro-LGBT propaganda, we in Africa should also be promoting anti-LGBT information. We should enlighten our people.
Religious bodies and like the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs should embark on what I call massive, comprehensive and aggressive sensitization and advocacy.
Despite countries like Angola, Botswana, Cape Verde, South Africa and a few others now adopting anti-discrimination laws against same-sex relationships. Many countries in Africa still limit their rights. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idonk Joseph.
For the poor in society who find it difficult to afford health care, the term health is wealth is significant. For them, it is a huge relief when help comes in the form of free Medicare. They turn out in their numbers to access such assistance. News Central's Chinwe Ogede reports that this was the case when a non-governmental organization in partnership with the Federal Medical Center, Umuahia, and the Abia State government offered a 14-day free medical service to indigents in the state.
Life seems hard for the aged, poor and disabled in the society. A lot of people in the country are unable to go to the hospital to seek medical help due to the high cost of medications and Medicare in general.
I came here last 2 years to do it. Before series of tests, the money I hold finished. They booked me for operation. Since then, I don't get money to come and do it again.
When I take in, the fibroid will just destroy the baby inside. For 4 years now, I've been married. When I take in 5 miscarriages and I went to scan, they say it's multiple fibroid. So there is no money to do the operation.
Because of the thing that happened to me in my neck here. I've been there since the day they gave birth to me.
The economic situation is a little bit tough, and then people are spending a lot of money out of pocket for healthcare. And if you don't take your time, you can get into what you refer to as catastrophic spending. And I'm sure it's in that vision that the governor aligned with us, Federal Medical Center, who is partnering with the Revive Medical Mission from Belgium to have a medical mission that will totally concentrate on the poor.
Every indigent sick person captured will be given advice and treatment.
And now is the 4th time we are in Nigeria. We went already to Anambra, I think, Delta State, Ozoro, and now Lagos. Yeah. So now we are here to perform operations for the poor people.
A lot of them interviewed already had been diagnosed with various ailments but lacked the funds to access healthcare services, but are hopeful that they will receive free treatment from the medical mission.
One thing good about this team is they are always trying to, perform as much operations as possible, because the more the number, the better they feel.
On the first day of the free Medicare services, over 500 persons converged from different parts of the state at Ikwegu in our Umuahia North government area of Abia State. In Umuahia Central, Chinwe Ogede.
And I'll tell you that some commercial taxi drivers in Nigeria have expressed worry over the cost of transiting from petrol-powered vehicles to those that run on compressed natural gas. Some of them spoke to News Central Television in Abuja, the nation's capital, saying the current low patronage and adoption in the country can be attributed to the high cost of conversion and the unavailability of skilled personnel with the requisite technical skills. Marvelous Obomano tells us more.
Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima, during the National Economic Council meeting on petrol subsidy removal, had assured citizens that the federal government will vigorously pursue the mass deployment of compressed natural gas vehicles in all states of the Federation as palliative measures to ease public transportation. Several months down the line, it is clear that this has not been a reality, and even private transporters have not adopted the initiative expected to reduce the cost of fuel for vehicles. Many of the taxi drivers here have harped on the economic benefit of converting their vehicles to compressed natural gas. Some of them have raised a quite number of issues. One is affordability. They've asked how many of them using these taxis for commercial purpose can afford the huge amount of money used for this conversion. Some of them have also talked about expertise, that how many people are in the business of converting these vehicles.
it's very, very economical. But when you see an average driver don't have money to put such compressed gas. And so if government, who has brought that idea, will, of course, give incentive to drivers, we can go on it. And also involve many people to embark on the training. Because it is only when there are so many people that are doing it that the price will be lesser.
So motor no pass 200,000, 300,000 for price. If you carry it, go to convert it, they will tell you to is 200,000, more than that. So to get the money, you know, say if you want, the thing is from individual people. It's not direct from government. So the thing must less, or government put on it so that they will reduce the price. So we too will be taxi people, we get power to do it, but you can't go there. You say now 200, why can I get the money and do it? That's why the thing no dey ramp up everywhere, my brother.
If government want to help us with the natural gas, they will bring the price down, and they will make sure the people that will mount it, the people that will fix it, they are everywhere. Right now, my friend converted his own for 450,000. Just 450,000. 450,000 is not small money for Nigeria of today.
Although I have not seen it physically, but if I see it, I will be very, very happy, because to my own greatest surprise, if something like that comes to Nigeria, at least we'll be free from all this fuel price that is not stable. That some of us cannot even afford it. If you have 10,000 now, you buy fuel that cannot even, you will not be able to raise up to the 15,000 naira. The fuel will finish. You will now go and start from where you stop. At the end, you go out empty-handed.
With the price of converting these vehicles to compressed natural gas going to about 300,000 to 400,000, some people are calling on the federal government to subsidize this amount so that the ordinary Nigerian on the street who wants to use his or her vehicle for commercial purpose can actually afford it. In Abuja for News Central, Marvelous Obomman.
Coming up, U.S. Secretary of State begins four-nation Africa tour. We will bring you details of this and other stories in a bit. NC Continental Prime continues in West Africa, where U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Cape Verde and has met with Prime Minister Ulysses Correa Silva to discuss the partnership between Cape Verde and the United States. Blinken says the partnership is based fundamentally on shared values as well as shared interests and a deep history together. The U.S. Secretary of State is touring four democracies on the Atlantic coast: Cape Verde, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, and Angola, as security deteriorates in the Sahel and doubts grow about a key U.S. base in the coup-hit Niger.
Eu gostaria de expressar o reconhecimento pelo apoio concedido durante a pandemia da Covid-19. As vacinas que os Estados Unidos da América concedeu a Cabo Verde foram determinantes nesse combate. E nós respondemos muito bem. Cabo Verde é dos países que tiveram maior alta taxa de vacinação em África. E estamos muito agradecidos pela resposta rápida, consistente dos Estados Unidos da América. Reconhecer mais um compacto do Millennium Challenge Account, uma distinção para o nosso país que valorizamos. Eu gostaria também de reconhecer o programa de parceria com o National Guard do estado de New Hampshire, na capacitação e assistência técnica da nossa Guarda Costeira. Eu mesmo pessoalmente estive a presenciar esta boa parceria. E queremos reforçar as nossas relações ao nível do diálogo político e diplomático, ao nível da atração de investimentos e exportação.
The United States is committed to deepening, to strengthening, to broadening our partnerships across Africa. Partnerships that benefit Africans and Americans alike. As President Biden has said, we are all in when it comes to to Africa. You have been and you are a remarkable partner for the United States. And as you said, Prime Minister, this is a partnership that is based fundamentally on shared values as well as shared interests, and also a deep history together. Assistant Secretary Fee was just telling me of a Cabo Verdean who played a prominent role in our own civil war. And we have so much history since then, and very strong communities of Cabo Verdeans in the United States who contribute in remarkable ways to our country.
To some health matters now, Cameroon has launched the world's first large-scale systematic vaccination campaign against malaria. According to the World Health Organization, the mosquito-borne disease kills more than 600,000 people a year, 95% of them in Africa. Children under 5 years old account for more than 80% of deaths on the continent. Permanent Secretary of the Expanded Program on Immunization, Dr. Shalom Nduka, says the government sees the introduction of the vaccine as a way of speeding up the achievement of targets aimed at reducing the number of cases of malaria in Cameroon by more than 90% by the year 2030, compared with the 2015 levels.
De la vision du gouvernement, c'est pour accélérer l'atteinte des objectifs qui visent à réduire de plus de 90% le nombre de cas du paludisme d'ici 2030 par rapport à son niveau de 2015 au Cameroun. Donc il s'agit d'une introduction dans la vaccination de routine, qui n'est pas une campagne qui doit s'arrêter de façon ponctuelle, mais plutôt une introduction qui met à la disposition des populations vulnérables des 42 districts du Cameroun un vaccin.
Les vaccins sont vraiment disponibles. Toutes les cibles que nous attendons pour cette année bénéficieront de vaccins. Dans notre district de santé, nous attendons près de 1760 enfants. Et pour chacun de ces enfants, les vaccins seront disponibles mensuellement. La vaccination va commencer dès 6 mois. Et elle se fera sur 4 doses jusqu'à 2 ans.
Je suis venue faire vacciner mon enfant pour être à bonne santé.
Le Cameroun est un des 11 pays dans lesquels le paludisme pèse vraiment de tout son poids sur nos populations. Et donc un outil supplémentaire comme celui-là vient s'ajouter à la panoplie dont nous disposons déjà.
Let's now join Perpetua Fasami Peter for today's business news.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
In business, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has said it should prepay future royalties and taxes to the federal government from the $3.3 billion financing deal it got from African Export-Import Bank last year. NNPCL disclosed this in a document titled Frequently Asked Questions, Project Gazelle, released by its Chief Corporate Communications Officer, Olufemi Shoneye, on Sunday night. It explained that the loan would be used by the oil company to support the federal government in stabilizing Nigeria's exchange rate. Providing more details about the deal on Sunday night in the document, the oil company said it adopted a lower price benchmark of $65 per barrel for the $3.3 billion crude for cash loan to reduce the risk of default and ensure financial stability. Brent, the global benchmark for crude, is currently at about $78 per barrel, providing a safety margin for price fluctuations in the future. NNPC has set aside 90,000 barrels of oil for Project Gazelle, guaranteeing a cash flow stream for repayments and expenses. While higher oil prices speed up payback, lower prices could slow it down. And in East Africa, Kenya will need at least 2.4 trillion Kenyan shillings to construct a proposed standard gauge railway (SGR) on the Lamu Port South Sudan Ethiopia Transport Corridor, called Laspet Corridor. This was stated by Kenya Railways Corporation. According to the parastatal, it would cost 523.05 billion Kenyan shillings to build a 544.4 kilometer standard gauge rail (SGR) link to connect Lamu and Isiolo, and a further 476.7 billion Kenyan shillings, to extend the line from Isiolo to Moyale over a distance of 475.9 kilometers. The largest spending would be on constructing the SGR line from Isiolo to Nakudok town on the border between Kenya and South Sudan over a distance of 753.2 kilometers for 664.65 billion Kenyan shillings. Kenya Railways has estimated that a further 358.8 billion Kenyan shillings will be required to link Isiolo and Nairobi via SGR over a distance of 278.6 kilometers and a further 385.95 billion Kenyan shillings for the 325.35 kilometer stretch between Lamu and Miriakani. Still in East Africa, cargo volumes at Mombasa and Dar es Salaam ports have grown amid intensified competition, with Mombasa touting its efficiency while Dar is offering what it describes as favorable terms. Tanzania this week announced the completion of the $420 million Dar es Salaam Maritime Gateway Project, DMGP, and plans to expand its maritime infrastructure as it opened storage for cargo destined to 4 East African community states. Kenya charges up to $1,200 more per 40-foot container passing through the port of Mombasa. But the attractive package offered by the Dar port has seen it grapple with efficiency challenges, prompting the management to more diverting cargo to the Bagamoyo port. Tanzania Ports Authority TPA Director General Plasdius Mbosa said they planned the construction of 6 new berths in Dar and Bagamoyo through Public-Private Partnership (PPP). Dar es Salaam Port's current performance is low compared with Mombasa, Beira and Durban, forcing major shippers to skip it due to higher anchorage costs. These are the stories we're tracking at this hour. Thank you for watching. I am Perpetua Fasamipita. The news continues shortly. Bye for now.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money. Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
Talking sports now, Super Eagles of Nigeria have qualified for the Africa Cup of Nations knockout round. We are now being joined live by our sports correspondent, Favor Itwa, for more updates. Favor, today's game marked our 100th match in the history of the Africa Cup of Nations since we began taking part in 1963. How significant is today's win for looking at the achievements that the Super Eagles have recorded?
Yeah, good evening, Lekon. The win, of course, is significant.
Their performance is not as inspiring as you would have expected. 3 goals, 1 each in the 3 matches. Are you concerned or worried about Nigeria's attacking threats?
Well, I think that's how they've started, but at this point in time, football has changed to just having to get the points or going past, a particular team. You need to also bury your chances. There are some times that the team will not get as much as opportunities they have been getting and not converting their chances, in different games. So the team needs to start scoring. Look at Equatorial Guinea. In 2 matches, they've scored 8 goals. I mean, they are one of the teams that have scored the most goals in this tournament, and they are so inspiring. They're topping the group that has Super Eagles of Nigeria, the host nation Ivory Coast. It speaks volume of what football has become in Africa. Indeed, and just to also let you know, in this African Cup of Nations, we've not had a goalless draw. Every game has produced goals, and that's to tell you that goals, of course, is important. It also boosts your confidence as a team. It takes you and spurs you into the next game. But for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, yes, it's a bit of worry for the team, but of course the players know that they have to do more. The more it gets.
The Felix Houphouët-Boigny Stadium in today's game, that's in the center of Abidjan. Did the change in match venue affect fan support?
I think the change in match venue, yes, it did affect the support, but I must tell you, is for a positive note. Looking at the support we had today, lots of persons that are Nigerians stay around the Felix Houphouët-Boigny Stadium. It was easy for them to access the stadium. We had more support for the Nigerian side than what we used to have at the Alassane Ouattara Stadium. And looking at what we saw today, indeed, the fans are even excited because the round of 16 will be played right here in this venue. That's talking about the Felix Houphouët-Boigny Stadium. So it's also going to make more fans come into the stadium because, of course, Alassane Ouattara Stadium is in the outskirts of town, and will take about an hour to access the stadium. So you can imagine, the rejoicing and the joy, in the faces of Nigerians in Abidjan, knowing that they can get to support their team with just, little stress, of course, and of course not much of an amount of money. Stadium.
Now, the other game played today, Equatorial Guinea dismantled Ivory Coast before their home fans. And we saw a clip of a fan leaving the stadium before the final whistle. What impact will this have on fan support and attendance in competition, in this particular competition going forward?
Big impact, I must tell you, Lekon. I mean, looking at the host nation crashing out of the tournament, it will, of course, affect the fans' turnout. I mean, you get to see less of fans coming to the stadium. And then looking at Ivory Coast leaving so early, it doesn't really speak well of the tournament-wise. For the festivities, the culture, a lot of persons will just go back to doing what they know how to do best in terms of their business and other things they've been doing before now. It will also affect the economy in a way because, of course, when you don't sell tickets, it means that you may not get as much as what you've envisaged to get in the tournament. I think that will also affect them. And from the reports we are getting already at the Alassane Ouattara Stadium, there's currently quite like a riot and fans violence in the sense that fans are not happy with what has happened, that their country, Ivory Coast, have been knocked out of the tournament. So we hear that they are currently protesting right here at the Alassane Ouattara Stadium.
Favor Itwa, thank you so much for giving us the heads up.
Thank you very much, Leko, for having me.
Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
It's now time for entertainment stories.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
And now in Entertainment Continental Prime, Burna Boy has expressed excitement about becoming the first Afrobeat artist to perform at the main ceremony of the Grammy Awards. The announcement was made ahead of the 66th edition of the Grammy Awards, scheduled for the 4th of February 2024 in Los Angeles. The historic achievement for Burna Boy marks him as the first and only Nigerian artist to perform at the main show of the Grammys. The singer shared his enthusiasm on social media, emphasizing the significance of this accomplishment. African giant Burna Boy, who's received nominations in various categories for the 66 Grammys, previously performed at the pre-ceremony on the night he won his first Grammy Award. His inclusion as a performer at the main ceremony further solidifies his global impact in the music industry. Nigerian singer and songwriter Ruga has announced the launch of his own record label named Blown Boy Entertainment. The revelation was made through Ruga's Instagram story on the 19th of this month, along with a short video featuring a music freestyle. While there is no official statement regarding his departure from his previous record label, Jonesing World, Ruga's move to establish Blown Boy Entertainment has sparked excitement amongst fans. The artist's Instagram bio has been updated to reflect the new label, hinting at the upcoming release of a new single on the Blown Boy banner. Ruger, known for hit songs like Bounce and Asiwaju, has quickly risen to prominence, and fans eagerly anticipate the unique musical journey he will embark on with Blown Boy Entertainment. His chart-topping single Asiwaju topped Spotify's 2023 most streamed songs in sub-Saharan Africa, emphasizing its widespread success. And finally, the soundtrack of the Netflix original film The Kitchen features the song Odonwom by Ghanaian musicians Kofi Nti, Ofori Ampomans, and Baroski. The dystopian film, set in London, explores the divide between the rich and poor, with The Kitchen serving as a surviving community. Directed by Daniel Kaluuya and Kibwe Tavares, the film's diverse soundtrack includes artists like Alhaji K. Frimpong, Gibbs, and Fela Kuti. Tavares highlighted the process of building a soundscape that aligns with the layered and colorful world of the film, incorporating influences from various genres like garage, drum, and bass, grim and classical compositions. The Kitchen was released on Netflix on the 19th of January 2024. Well, that's much you can take on entertainment. I am Sam Dandy, back with the rest of the news.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
And that's all at this hour, but before we go, let's take another look at some of our major stories. Liberia's new president, Boakai, has vowed to tackle graft as he takes oath as president. Chief of Defense Staff has advocated broad-based approach to Nigeria's security challenges. And finally, we told you that U.S. Secretary of State Blinken has landed in Cape Verde for first leg of four-country Africa tour. Do send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number and email on your screen. While you do that, follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can also watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekon Onobanjo.